and basically you don't need to do these, you just need to see what's going on.
Yes. And on top of this one?
Okay, so now I have my workspace reset, and here we go. First thing is I need to crop this artwork. I'm going to crop it, making sure that the background color is white, and there's my crop tool, and I will be wanting to keep really just the head in the long run. In the end game, I really just want his head and his crown, but for now I'm going to crop it, keeping in his hands with his other weapons and tools, and I'm cropping it larger than I think I'm going to need it and pressing the return key. Okay, now it is cropped. For the next piece of this, in fact, I want it to be cropped a little taller, so I'm going to use the crop tool again and in fact increase the height. I know that the background color is white, so when I hit the return key, now I have a white area that I can work into. I will probably also want to turn his head to a 90-degree angle at some point. I guess I could do that now. Why not? To do that, I'll go to View, Rulers, and there's Rulers, and drag out a vertical ruler somewhere in the middle of the image. So there's a straight up and down line. However, the artwork is locked on its layer that it came in on, so I need to unlock the layer, double click, and I'll just call this Main Ganesha, and I should probably put a capital letter G. Okay, awesome. Now that it's unlocked, I can rotate it. Command T will give me the transform handles, and I'm going to rotate and scoot it over. And does that seem really vertical to me? I could maybe go over a little more. I'll press the return key. That sets the rotation. Now I'm going to use the top ruler and kind of check through the eyes. And I would say that looks about right. I could Command T, rotate it even just a little tiny snurch more. I'll zoom out, Command minus to, yeah, that's fine. I'm leaving it how it was. Okay, great. So I will now save it. File save as, because this is the file that I'm going to be processing and working on all day today. And I will save it to my desktop into my images folder for now. And then I'll just call it Ganesh _ work, and it is now saved. Yeehaw. All right, I'm not going to do really a lot of detail work right now on fixing the crown. I'm going to put a rough piece in, and then I'm going to come back later and make it more awesome. So using the polygon lasso tool, and actually here I need to press the Z for zoom tool. I think I like this side better. And again, polygon tool, and I'll do a selection of this shape, taking a little liberties here. I could even hack this out more roughly, just to give you an idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hack it out, bring it up to here, let's say. Double click. Great. With that selected, I will go Layer, New, via Copy. Layer, New, via Copy. Boom. Command minus, back to 100%. V for the Move tool. Okay, and this piece that I just did New Layer via Paste is now over here, and I can see that I'm going to have to mess with it considerably to get it to match, but I definitely think it can be done. It needs to kind of be tilted. I'm going to zoom in on it, zoom me back, in and out. It's tricky. So yeah, one thing that might be a good thing to do to make this look a little bit more realistic, and I thought about what I was going to be teaching you today, but I did not try this because sometimes it's too obvious when, yeah, it's like that. So here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to select the left side of this shape. And then again, I'm going to do, making sure I'm on the correct layer right here, I'm going to do Layer New. via copy again. Command T for transform, and I'm kind of interested in seeing if I do something more centered like that. All right, so what are some of the things that you can see about this that don't match, that are really obvious to you right away? The color is a big deal. All right, so now I'm going to select this shape behind. Okay, I'm being really, really rough on this picture. I'm going to make the eraser tool. I'm not going to use a mask. I'm just going to erase. The eraser is at 33. I'm going to go 100%. So what am I erasing? Let's make the eraser smaller. I'm erasing this half of this, which is right here. Okay. Questionable how much of the other piece I really need. And then if I turn this on again, see what's happening? So I'm trying to just do quick work of this. One issue now would be smart to actually put a layer mask and join these two pieces together, because I'm going to do that now. Command E. And now again, if I hide the background, now I have this and that, which is beginning to mask in. Not too bad, right? All right, so I'm going to select the current top layer, which is just that top element, and I'm going to add a layer mask to it. Boom. And clicking on the layer mask side, pressing X to bring black to the front and decreasing the size of my brush, minus, 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 and not painting on the right layer. What am I doing? Hello. Brush, 24. Oh, I'm on the eraser. B for brush. All right. And what do we have here? Giant 1600 pixel brush. I know you like seeing me struggle. It helps, doesn't it? Doesn't it help you learn when I struggle through things? All right, so now again, I'm looking. Okay, black. All right, so it's only at 47. Let's be more serious here. Bring it to 100. Because since I'm painting on a mask, it's not too worrisome. And I've got that much done. And then I want to reduce the size of my brush. Left bracket. I'm trying to go fast. Because also, you don't know what I see in my head, but the end product here is going to be kind of rough, what I'm going to end up with. So I'm going to press the image side of that, V for move, and here's this little piece. And I'm going to want to drop that right down there. And then again, B for brush. And what's happening over here? Do I care? Do I not care? Ooh. All right, undo. So click, hold the shift key down, and click again. That made a nice straight line. Sort of curve this around, funkadelic, right? And one more time, on, off, on, off. Okay, let's fix this little edge. This is a little bit whatever. And one more time, on, off. All right, on the top layer, I'm going to fix the color. It does need a lot less of this warm tonality. So I'm going to go Command U for hue saturation, and I want to decrease the warm tones in that, so that would be red. I'll desaturate red on that top thing. Ooh, ah, done. That's good enough for what this is going to end up to be. Again, I think the treatment I'm going to end up with doing on this is going to be far different than this full color thing. I'm going to be doing something very graphic and rough with it. All right, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to merge that down, Command E, and save this file, Command S. So that was the very quick fix-it tutorial. Now I'm going to go into the clipping path, right in the same movie. Under Workspace, I'm going to go to Paths, and I'm going to get the pen tool. Okay, pen tool. So at this point in time, I'm going to pause the recording. Pause. So before I make the clipping mask, I want to fix the ear on the left side, or maybe that's the right side, but I'm going to select here this tip of the ear and do Edit. I'm actually going to do Layer New via Copy, Command 0 to fit in window, V to move, moving this side of the ear over, Command T to transform just this layer, And I'm going to line it up. And again, I have color issues. Command plus to zoom in on it and check the alignment. Spacebar to get the hand tool. And V to move it. So I want it to patch just the tip here. So can I do that? I'm going to hit the return key. See if I can line it up better. Like that. Right, I'm going to put it here. I will add a mask. Okay. Get the brush. What up? Before, after. Doesn't look that much better on that side. But let's just do this. Cut it out like that. One more time. It's bigger. Okay. And I'll get a softer brush. V for move. Move it away. Move it on here. It's almost matching now. I think I'm going to mess with the color, and then that's going to be it. Command U to saturate this. Command U to saturate this a little more. And Option reset. Try it again. A little more. All right, just tiny bit. There we go. And then B for brush again. Make sure I'm on the mask side because I just want just that little tip. Okay, X, bring it back. And again, this doesn't have to be uber perfect because what I'm going to end up with is going to be kind of mashy looking. All right, great. Now I'm ready to work on the clipping path. I've saved my file, Command E. I have dropped everything down into one layer, and I'm going to crop. Here we go, cropping at the bottom of the trunk. So first thing is look at your image. If you have it open, this is a good time to be working on it. I'm going to crop this as close as I can, keeping just the parts I need. Pressing the return key, now it is cropped, and I will save it again. And here is the paths panel. So the key takeaway from this tutorial is how to work with the pen tool to create a path that you can then, when you want to take this artwork into Illustrator or InDesign and place it with everything hidden except for the one object you want to be showing. In this case, it's going to be this Ganesha's head. So I'm going to start here by zooming at the top of the crown and finding my pen tool. Show of hands, people who've used pen tool. That's more than half the class. So of people who have not used the pen tool, I'm going to talk about some specific rules that I hope will help you. Everyone who's been also using the pen tool, who's still struggling with it some, you can wiggle your hand. You guys feel pros at the pen tool? That's pretty awesome. All right, so I'm going to come around here using the regular pen tool, starting at the top of the crown, and I immediately get, when I click one point here, inside of the path palette, a thing called work path. It's important to recognize that that's a temporary name and has to be changed to a real name when you finish this process. So now I'm clicking and dragging to create a small curve, staying towards the inside of what I want to cut away. Click and drag approximately 1/3 in the direction or of the direction of the curve you want to make. So what that means in terms of plotting points with the pen tool, and I know this isn't that easy to see because the background is gray, but there are 2 points, 2 or 3 actually major elements to making paths with the pen tool. So I'm going to start that again. Pen tool. Okay, first thing is pen tool, freeform pen tool, add anchor, delete anchor, and convert. So there's a lot of ways that you can draw here. I'm going to try a very basic way first, which is just plotting points. The first point becomes the work path. The second point is the top of the crown, and I'm going to come straight down here and then turn this corner, but not really turn, just plotting angular points. And I'm plotting angular points because I can turn them into curve points later, and I also want to show you the whole kit and caboodle here of what it's going to look like when we bring this into Illustrator or InDesign. Now here I'm actually making a curve, so that's not a straight point. I'm going to undo that and actually follow through with what I said, which is I'm just going to do this with straight points, chunking it out, staying to the inside. So there could be a problem right here. There's a hot spot, and it's kind of could be something I have to retouch out. So it's worth looking at that now. I'm not going to retouch it out now, but I'm going to just click and stay inside with straight point path. So spacebar for zoom tool, P for pen tool. If you're already drawing, that's great. If you want to keep watching, that's fine too. I'm going to go through with this whole thing here. I'm going to clonk it out as quickly as I can with just straight points. Bring this up and back. Zooming out. This is pretty big. I want it to be big so that if I decide to print it, I'll have good quality, even though it is physically taking longer to draw this because it's a larger size. If you're stuck and you're having problems and you're not liking what's happening on your computer, please let me know so I can come around and help you. And oops, I drew a curved point there. I'm going to make it a straight point. Zooming out, Command minus. So accuracy is the name of the game here in terms of what it really takes to become an expert at this process, practice, and forcing yourself to do it. Essentially, that's the main thing that you need. Persistence. But once I have something going, I'm going to show you some tricks that I think will speed up your process. So as I said, I'm trying to make quick work of this, staying to the inside of the pixel edges. And I'm going to put this on pause because I think it'll be boring recording. We have all these pen tools, pen tool, freeform, add, subtract, and convert points. And then down here we have important tools. Path selection selects an entire path, and direct selection selects a point of a path. So I'm going to click on this point where I somehow clicked way off in Nowheresville, and or where I need to kind of fix my artwork, reposition it. So you can click on a point and then click on it again and reposition it. I am going to now tell you another important thing, which is key. Work path needs to have its name changed, and I'm just going to call this one head path. Because the next time you draw, please be looking on screen. If I wanted to add another path to this document and I started to click, you can see that it's going to be called work path. So if I don't want the new thing that I might be adding to add to the first path or to be overriding it, I need to always name paths after I create them. Okay? Do not leave them the name work path. In layers, it's usually fine if you leave layer names not named, but paths is not okay. It'll mess you up later. Just needed you to know that. All right, so now I'm going to select this words that say head path. And it's selected. You can see the path goes on. If I click beneath in this area where there's nothing, essentially, in the path palette, that turns the path off. So to turn it on, you click on it. And to turn it off, you click down here. I'm going to turn it on, click. And now I'm going to turn it into a clipping mask or a clipping path. They are the same thing. The flyout menu. Okay, the path is selected. The flyout menu is saying here, I can tell it to be designated as a clipping path. I'm clipping it, so I want it to be the clipping path. Now this is a flatness setting, which I actually never in my 30 plus years of using Photoshop have ever changed that number for any reason. It's usually something printers will use when they're doing huge billboards. So don't worry about that. Just ignore that and click OK. And now you'll notice the name became bold because this one is now the designated clipping path. To insert this in an Illustrator or an InDesign file, I need to save it. Not as a Photoshop document, although in some cases that could work. It's better off if I actually save it as if I'm going to be printing this exactly the way it is, and it's awesome and I love it, and I know I'm going to be printing it in a print document, I would probably want to convert this to CMYK color if you were making a print of this in a printing press, in a real printers. Otherwise, if you're printing on your own Epson or your own Canon color printer, you can leave it RGB, okay? However, I'm not going to change the mode. One might want to change the mode. I am going to save it. I'm going to go File, and I'm going to choose Save As. Save As will let me save this as Ganesh PSD, which is great. I might want to keep one named that, but I'm pretty sure I just saved it a minute ago. Can I tell if I've saved a file or not? Yes, I don't think I've mentioned this the entire time we've been working together, but if you look over here in the file name, the name right now has no asterisk at the end of it. When you make a change to your file in any Adobe program, an asterisk will appear. And if you see the asterisk, it means your work has not been saved. So I know my work has been saved, so I'm happy, and I'm going to call this Ganesh work, but I'm going to change its format to a TIFF, a tagged image file format. This will allow me to, if I really wanted to, keep layers, which I don't need to. Okay, so I'm clicking off layers. So it's going to want to save it as a copy, not a big deal because it's saving it as a different format anyway. But this is saving it in a smaller, more compressed file format, which will make a document such as an Illustrator or an InDesign file load faster and not lose any quality. Yes, you could put a Photoshop file in, but it is going to be a bigger file format at the end of your final design file. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to save it as a TIFF, Ganesh Work TIFF, and saving it, and I'm going to click OK to everything. I don't really need to save transparency, but it's not hurting me, so I'm just going to click OK. Great. Now I've saved this with this very rough edge on it, which I am going to show you in a minute how to clean up. But for the last part of this movie, and we'll wrap it up for this part of the tutorial, in this movie we'll go on to a second version of this. I'm going to go into Illustrator now and open it up, which may already be open. Okay, I am in Illustrator here, and I'm going to create a new file, Command N, and I'm going to make this a tall 8.5 by 11 Illustrator file, and click OK. Boom! Yeah. All right, now I have a new Illustrator file. I'm going to save this as File, Save As, and I'm going to call it New Work AER. I don't know. It's not a very exciting name, but that's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to save it to my images folder here. Save it. Great. Ready to go. Yes, this is a CMYK file. I am not finalizing this right now, but I am going to want to show you how to insert this image we just worked with in Photoshop that has a clipping mask and use the clipping path or mask in Illustrator. So I'm going to go to File, Place now. And then I'm going to find that artwork that I just saved. Here it is, Ganesh Work, TIFF. And I'll click Place and check it out. It's recognizing the clipping mask. Okay, so I'll come over to where I think I want this to begin, which is going to be here. And click and drag. This box represents the area my artwork should fill, and there he is. And even though it's kind of rough, it's not bad. Okay, I'm going to do File, Save, and that is the first part of today's tutorial. Artwork is placed in Illustrator.